In today's video, I'm going to show you how you can make mini ink pads that are lightweight, portable, and customizable, and they're inexpensive too. Hi everyone, it's Katya here, and thanks for joining me today. I thought it would be fun to show you how you can easily make mini ink pads in case you don't want to take your entire stash of ink pads with you if you decide to go on a family vacation or get together with your crafty friends. All wearing masks, of course, right? On Amazon, I found these little 1.5-inch diameter containers that have a base and a screw-on lid that will help prevent your ink from drying out. They also came in a box of 40 and they were pretty inexpensive. I also purchased some ink blending pads that are dome shaped from scrapbook.com and they are perfect for these little containers. So while I was waiting for my Avery labels to arrive at home, I used these temporary little stickers to put on there. And I started building some of these. And then I thought, I'm going to wait. I'm going to do a YouTube video so I can show people exactly how I did these. And they're super easy. And I think you guys will probably really love them. And say you have a crafty friend who does not have the exact same inks that you do, you guys could get together and swap different kinds of inks. By doing this, get together, do your own ink pads, and share them with your friends. That way you can kind of double up your supply. So here is the scrap.com foam pads that I was using, and these fit perfectly in to the container. But here's what I'm doing is I'm not putting them inside of the container. I'm actually putting them on the base of the lid, and I'll show you why. What I meant to say is the inside of the base of the lid. So I just wanted to clarify that. Okay, so here is my Avery sheet of label paper, and these are also 1.5, and they do sort of slightly hang off of the lid base, but or the top of the lid, but I'm okay with that. It's okay. I can just trim that over with a pair of scissors if it really bothers me, but for all intents and purposes, this works just fine. So this blending foam pad, I'm just basically going to secure it to the under portion of the lid, just using some strong double-sided adhesive. And I found that this was really strong enough for what I needed and it worked just fine. But you could also use a hot glue gun if you wanted to do that too. Now, the reason you want to secure the dome to the base of the lid rather than the base of the container is you want to be able to have something that sticks out so you can actually ink up your project. And I'll show you what I mean. But the great thing about doing it this way is that when you put this dome on the under portion of the lid, it sticks out enough so where you can hold it, but it doesn't touch the container at the bottom, and so it doesn't get all messy. But you do want to center it like I'm doing right here, and you want to make sure you center it so that you can actually screw the lid on and not interfere with the pad itself. Now, what's perfect about this is that when I screw on the lid here, you'll see that no matter how low that lid goes, even when it's airtight, it secures there and it doesn't touch the base of the container, which is perfect. Then it doesn't get messy. But all you do is unscrew it, put your ink on it, and tap it onto your project, and you've got your mini ink pad to go. This is working really well for me. So once you've secured the little ink blending foam pad to the top of the lid, you're going to want to take a re-inker bottle of your choice and you're going to shake it really well to get that pigment really mixed up in there because you want that to be nice and saturated with intense color. So here I am using limoncello, and I'm going to take the dropper bottle and turn it upside down and start off in the center with a little dot and then swirl it around, but I'm not really pushing hard. I'm just pushing enough to get that ink saturated into the pad. And this is all you want to do. Not a great deal of amount, but it works out really well. And then once you secure that lid onto the jar, you will find that once you secure the lid and screw it on, the ink pad in there remains really juicy and perfect and ready to go. So before my Avery labels arrived, I used some temporary labels just to kind of give me placeholders for what I needed to ink and the colors and all that kind of good stuff. But here's my label, and I was just about ready to peel it, and then I realized, wait a minute, I have to stamp it. I'm going to use a little stamp on the base underneath the word limoncello, and I decided to put it back onto the label sheet just to make it easier for me to stamp. So I'm going to be using this little heart from this particular stamp set, and I'm going to ink it up using the ink pad from the dome itself just to kind of show you how it works, and it works pretty well. And I'm not using a stamping block here because my stamp room is completely upside down. I'm remodeling and doing some custom based cabinets for myself. And so I can't find some stamp blocks. I can't find a lot of stuff, to be honest with you. Anyway, so I'm going to use this heart to stamp the limoncello color here, and it's white paper, so you're going to get a true definition of the color. And I'm not one of those types of people that has to have exactly the true tone by using certain types of colored paper. I just want a general gist of what the color is going to be, and I'm good to go with that. Now, because the Avery label sheet that I was using is designed for both inkjet and laser printers, the ink, when I stamped, dried very quickly, so I was very happy with that. So just as soon as I was able to stamp the heart, I was able to apply the lid and the ink did not smear, as you can see right here. And then I just pushed the edges of it around. And if I'm thinking I might do this, I might just take a little piece of clear tape just on the top of the color swatch just to kind of make sure that the ink doesn't dull over time or anything like that, but I haven't decided about that yet. So anyway, there's the first one done, and I decided to do quite a few more. And I'm going to show you this one here, just shaking the bottle of ink. And you'll notice that I don't saturate the entire pad. That's because I don't really think I need that much ink. When I did a couple of them and I retested the ink after a week, I noticed that the ink was really juicy and concentrated at the very top where I had applied the ink. So I think you can get away with just a little bit of a squirt just in the center and then to kind of move it around in a circle. And I think you're going to be fine with just that. So I think I did about 20 colors of these, and I did one at a time and made sure to close each one of my re-inker bottles because I'm notorious for being messy and getting ink all over the place, which is another reason why I like these little ink pads. But I made sure to clean my ink off of the stamp each time so that I could get a true color. And this one is super concentrated. Look at that gorgeous color. I love that. So I stamped it really quickly onto the label and made sure that I put the appropriate label on the actual ink container just to make sure I was working with the right one. If you're enjoying this video so far, don't forget to hit that like button. That certainly helps my channel. And if you're new here and you haven't subscribed, I would love it if you would join me and my other fellow crafters on this community so that we can share and collaborate. I love chatting with you guys in the comment section too. Now, what spurred this idea for these mini ink pads is because there are so many times where I'm using my stamp positioner and I want to have just a very small portion of my stamp inked up, but I wind up having to use a huge ink pad, which sometimes gets ink right on the lid of my stamp positioner, and it's super frustrating. So this way I can have a really small one and I can just stamp away using just the small ink pads, and these I can keep in a drawer right really close to me with like my other mini ink pads from Tim Holtz, and these will work perfectly. And then when I need to have a larger ink pad, I can certainly grab the original ones that from the manufacturer. Okay, now have you ever seen some people who sit behind their craft room and they're sitting behind or sitting in front of a desk, and behind them you see like a million ink pads on the wall? I'm so jealous of those people because I don't have that many inks. I have all of the Tim Holtz Distress Oxide inks because I love the properties of that ink, and I also love these Catherine Pooler inks. So when the funds are available, I'm going to start to build up my stash with Catherine Pooler inks. But I thought, you know what, while I'm doing these little mini ink pads, what I could do is make a couple of custom colors. So stick around, I'm going to show you how to do that too. And for those of you who's saying to yourself, hey, I don't even need these, why would I even bother? You could do this and give this to a crafty friend as a Christmas gift. This would be an easy way for you to inexpensively share some of the inks that you have, and then you could share it with them as a Christmas gift or something like that. That would be a great idea. So I'd love to know down in the comments section below if you would even consider doing something like this and bringing these with you on the go. I love them. I think they're kind of handy to have, and they're super less messy and easier to use. So then you just bring your stamp platform, paper, and these little ink pads, and you are good to go. But I'd like to know, do you use colored pencils? Do you use pens? What would you do? Would you do this? Just curious. Okay, so off camera, I finished inking the rest of those, and aren't those just so darling? I just love them. So I'm showing you what I have a piece of copy paper here, white copy paper, and a piece of clear packaging material. And the reason I'm showing you this is because I wanted to make two custom colors. I wanted to have like a darker red. So I have a couple of Catherine Pooler inks, and I thought I'm going to make a red color, a really nice deep red color. So I'm going to be working with the Flirty Fuchsia, and I believe that's the Tiara. And I think those two inks together would make a really beautiful, deep, dark, rich red. So I'm going to make that color first. And the reason I'm showing you this on the packaging material is because let's say you were to take the ink dropper bottles and put them directly to the foam pad. I don't think you would get a consistent ink colors, but if you mix them on a piece of clear packaging material, you'll get a truer color. So I'm going to drop the certain amount of ink drops here to get the color that I want. And I only think I did like 6 drops. So these are going to have equal parts of ink. So that's 6 drops of the tiara. And then I'm going to put 6 drops of the flirty fuchsia. And as you can clearly tell, I did not use tiara. I used limoncello, one of my favorite colors. And so I'm going to put equal amounts of the flirty fuchsia here. And gosh, that's a tongue twister, isn't it? Anyway, so I'm mixing the exact same number of drops. And do you see how that just pulls right into the center of that limoncello color? The way to basically do this is to take a paintbrush that you don't care about and have it ready to go along with a piece of paper towel so you can wipe off the ink. And you could also put in like some rubbing alcohol into a small shallow dish so that you could clean off your brush that way. But this is the place and the way I found it best to mix the inks. I didn't even try using a dropper bottle because I thought, well, if I put the dropper bottles directly on the foam pad one by one, I'm not going to be able to mix the colors. They're going to sink directly into the foam pad. So this way on the clear packaging material, you can actually see the color because you have white paper underneath, which helps you see what the true color is. And look at that gorgeous red here. And now all I'm going to do is take that domed lid and drop it right onto the center of that. And I'm picking up most of the ink, letting it saturate into that little foam pad, smashing it down, and then the excess ink I could actually use it for a stamp, and I can stamp the top of the lid. And then I'm going to label the lids exactly how I mix that ratio, so if I need to make that particular color again, I can do that by looking at the lid because it will have the formula of how many drops of each one of those inks I put into the container on that lid. And what a pretty color that turned out to be. I'm super happy with it. And it's exactly one of the dark red colors that I needed. So this is perfect, just in time for Christmas, right? In any case, I am going to be making a different color, and I want you to stick around because I'm not using entirely the same brand and manufacturer of inks. I wanted to show you that you can actually use 2 different brands of inks and come up with some great colors. As long as they have similar properties, you're going to get a beautiful result. So the next color I want to make is charcoal dye ink from Stampin' Up, and I want to use that tiara color. You see here I have Lime Ricky and then I have this Mardi Gras, and they're both beautiful shades of green, but I really wanted sort of like an olive color. And because I have a little bit of a background in art and color study, I do know that if you mix black with yellow, you will get a shade of green. But you want to be careful with how much you put. You don't want to do equal amounts because the black or gray, in this case I'm using gray, it turns out to be very dark, so I'm going to change the ratio. And on this one, I think I put 6 drops of the tiara and only 2 drops of that charcoal gray, and it was the perfect amount to make a really dark olive green color. Now again, I've had this gray, charcoal gray color from Stampin' Up! For quite a while, and the ink was it was a little thick and it doesn't have the same type of dropper bottle. It has like a dropper like this, and so I just put 2 drops in here. I really think I could have gotten away with 1, but 2 is what I used, no problem. I can actually lighten up that green by putting more of the tiara in if I want to at a later time and change up that formula, but this one worked really well. So you'll watch me swirl the color up together with a paintbrush and swirl that color around. And when it was swirling around, I was like, yay, this is exactly what I wanted, this nice, beautiful, dark um, olive green color that I was hoping for. And again, it really looks dark on camera, but in person, when you see it stamped, you can definitely see that it is a beautiful, rich olive green. So here is a little comparison. Here are the 2 original inks, and then here's that beautiful olive green that you get when you mix those 2 colors together. Super pretty. And the great thing about using that clear packaging material is that once you're finished doing your little experiment, you can wipe it clean with a damp cloth or a baby wipe, or a paper towel, as I'm using in this case right here, get it all clean, and then you're ready for your next color experiment. So you can reuse it over and over again. So I had two blank labels and I made sure to save a spot at the bottom. But you can see my little ratio here, 1 to 1 equal parts of those two ink colors. And then I left space at the bottom to stamp a little heart so that I could get a color swatch of that too. So I'm stamping up my little heart there, I'm sorry, inking up my little heart there. And then I'm going to color swatch the lid. And at first I was like, well, how am I going to do this? I had to put the lid back on. And then here I am stamping the heart directly onto that little label there. So stamp it right down, and I'm so loving this beautiful rich red color. It looks dark there, but look at that beautiful color. I have the exact same formula of what I need to know what next time I go to make this particular color of ink, and I'm good to go. And I'm going to wipe off this stamp, and I'm going to do a heart for the next color that I have. And you'll see on this next label, I left a little bit of room in the center of the ink pad, but because I have charcoal on one and I have tiara on the other, you'll see that I had to put the label of the Stampin' Up! Manufacturer and then Catherine Pooler on the bottom. So I didn't leave enough in the center, but I did write my formula, 6 drops of tiara and 2 drops of the charcoal ink. And all I'm going to do is go ahead and ink up my stamp, and I'm going to screw the lid back onto the container. And then I'm going to kind of stamp it off to the right hand side. I figured that's not so much of a big deal. And if it bothers me down the road, I can certainly change the label if I want to. So as you can see, this ink right now is pretty dark. It almost looks like it's charcoal, but trust me, in real life, it is actually a gorgeous, gorgeous green color that is like a forest olive green color, and I love it. So once it dries, it will dry back a little bit lighter. But anyway, here you go, piece of paper, a little piece of the clear packing material, and you can really go nuts making your own ink pads. What do you think? Anyway, that is it for me, my friends. I hope you enjoyed this video today. Don't forget to hit the like button, subscribe, and share this video with your friends. Thank you for stopping by, and until I see you next time, ciao for now.